France's economy in turmoil. France faces two significant success shocks: the COVID-19 pandemic and the increase in inflation. Emergency government was divisive and protected businesses, jobs, and purchasing power, but at a high physical cost. Efforts to reduce public spending will be key to lower government debt. The problem with France is that it needs a modern and productive economy. Small businesses dominate France and don't produce. France has a mixed economy system, which includes various private freedom, centralized economic planning, and government regulation. France is a member of the European Union. France is the sixth biggest economy worldwide in terms of gross domestic product, behind the US, China, Japan, Germany, and the UK. The French economy is one of the world's largest mixture of private enterprise and government involvement. Tourism is a major contributor to the economy. France Gerald tops list of the most visited countries. Other major economic sectors include industry, agriculture, energy, and defense. The top 10 exports for the French are machinery, including computers, which come out to be 62.6 billion. Vehicles, 50.8 billion a year. Electrical machinery, 45 billion a year. Pharmaceuticals, 39.1 billion a year. Aircraft, spacecrafts are 30.9 billion annually. Plastics are 25.5 billion annually. Beverage spirits and vinegar, 22.3 billion. Perfumes and cosmetics, 22 billion annually. Materials, 18.6 billion annually. Steel, 18 billion. The healthcare system in France provides universal health care through a mandatory public insurance. While private medical care exists in France, 75% of doctors who are in international programs provide free care to the patients. Social inequity is the driver of poverty in France. These qualities create barriers that prevent individuals from improving socio-economic status. For instance, educational disparities often lead to unequal job opportunities, as higher education is correlated with better paying jobs. Lack of access to health care can result in chronic health issues, which further individuals' ability to work and earn income. Social inequality is education, with the gap between children from affluent background and those from impoverished families. The former often have access to better resources, schools, and extracurricular activities, which significantly impact future income levels and employment opportunities. In 2023, key statistics reveal the presence of persistent poverty and inequality within France. The poverty rate, defined as the percentage of the population living below the national poverty line, remains a critical merge to evaluate the socio-economic landscape. According to recent reports, the poverty rate in France stands at approximately 14%, impacting millions of individuals and families. The statistics highlight the ongoing need for targeted interventions and support systems to alleviate the economic hardships faced by the vulnerable segments of the population. The child poverty rate is particularly concerning in France, as it exceeds the overall poverty rate, indicating high vulnerability among younger populations. The population below the poverty line is 14%. Children's poverty in France is 19%. The unemployment rate in France is at 8%. The trends in poverty and inequality in France has shown improvements and setbacks over the years. Economic fluctuations, government policies, and global events, such as the COVID-19 pandemic, have significantly influenced these trends. Recent years have been a concerted effort by the French government to reduce poverty and mitigate equality through various programs and reforms. These include enhancements to the social security system, tax reforms, aims at redistribution, and increased investments in public services, such as education and healthcare. The pandemic has exacerbated existing inequalities and introduced new challenges. While the immediate response includes emergency financial aid and support for businesses, The long-term effect highlights the need for resilient systems that can support the most vulnerable. Additionally, the shift toward remote work has had a different annual impact across the country, potentially altering the employment landscape permanently. The French government has introduced several initiatives that reduce poverty and support the economic conclusion. These include support measures such as RSA, which provide financial assistance to individuals and families with lower incomes. Employment programs targeted at reintegrating job markets play a crucial role in this comprehensive approach. Healthcare access is another critical aspect, with policies showing that lower income families and individuals receive necessary medical care without financial hardship. Housing assistance programs are also part of France's strategy, helping to prevent homelessness and housing insecurity among the vulnerable population. Education serves as a fundamental tool in the fight against poverty in France. By focusing on equitable access to education for all children, irrespective of socioeconomic background, the French government aims to break the cycle of poverty that affects those disadvantaged families. Educational initiatives include targeted support for low-income students, such as scholarships, school programs, and other school tutorial services. Furthermore, vocational training and adult educational programs are essential components in France's strategy, offering opportunities to skill development and lifelong learning. These programs are tailored to meet the needs of the economy while providing pathways out of poverty for adults. Investment in education is widely regarded as one of the most effective long-term strategies to combat poverty, with benefits extending beyond individual earnings to include social tools, growth, and development. French people have been protesting in France for the past 5 or 6 years. Few of those protesting had voted for Macron in the 2017 French presidential election. They have shown political alienation by not voting, or voting for right or far left candidates. Raising fuel prices initially sparked the demonstration. France has a history of the people revolting against the French government. On July 14, 1789, Paris mob, hungry due to lack of food from the poor harvest, upset at the condition of the lives and annoyed with their king and government, stormed the Bastille fortress of prison. Today, the farmers are protesting against low food prices, proposing reduction in state subsidies, performance, diesel, fuel, and the EU Free Trade Agreement. The French are also protesting the River Seine, which had tested unsafe with E. coli, a bacteria causing diarrhea, urinary tract infections, pneumonia, and sepsis. Why is there so much violence in France, one might ask? For some, the violence is the result of poverty and discrimination. Entrenched social ills ensure that France's bleak estate remains tinderboxes. Others view the violence as mainly a law and order issue. Although demonstrators appear regulated across France and are mostly peaceful, on rare occasions they have included violence and property damage, and police have responded with water cannons and tear gas. France is faced with significant human rights issues, credible reports, crimes involving violence or threats of violence against Muslims, crimes of violence or threats of violence motivated by anti-Semitism, and crimes involving violence or threats of violence targeted at lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender. The crime in France is attributed to a lack of transparency, tax evasion issues, and controversial political decisions. Despite this, the country itself is stable. The French people boycotted the Olympics due to the French government's secularism policies that were called into question by activists, who specifically opposed the decision by the National Olympic and Sports Committee to prohibit French athletes from wearing religious symbols. Overall, France's economy is trying to maintain stability. With all the protests and the refusal of the African countries to allow them to extract minerals, they are barely treading above water to maintain a strong economy. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe.